Hey everyone, I'm so excited to welcome our guest today, who is Genevieve. She is a former executive assistant turned real estate agent. She's based in Arkansas, but previously was in Las Vegas, and she has joined us to share a little bit more about her journey of how she moved into real estate and some of her tips and tricks for those that are looking to make the career switch. So, thank you so much for being with us, Jen. I would love if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey and maybe what sparked you pivoting into real estate.
Thank you so much for having me here, Elaine. It's such an honor. And yeah, I would love to tell you all about this fun journey that I've been on. So initially I wanted to be an architect. I studied architecture in high school. I studied it in college. I worked at two architecture firms. And then I realized maybe that's not quite a good match for me. And the recession hit and all those firms shut down. So
Mm.
I had to pivot, and in school I went into business, and then I had every random job under the sun during the recession, just trying to make ends meet. I ended up landing it as an executive assistant. I did that for 6 years. That was a really great job, except at the end of those 6 years, I kind of had like topped out. So the next step was either like Devil Wears Prada executive assistant, where you like sell your soul, or I had to like find a new career path. So I went through all the options, and based on like all my previous work history and things that I enjoyed doing, real estate kind of was the best combination of all the things with like contracts and driving and looking at houses and architecture and talking to people and still having, some organization and admin duties. So it kind of was a good culmination of all the things. In addition, low startup, right? So quick school, very inexpensive, and then an unlimited income potential. So
Yeah,
I thought it would be the greatest risk for reward factor. So
absolutely. I mean, that commission-based income, that's really a tempting prospect, but I think we'll talk about that a little bit later. So,
yes.
for someone who's never, I guess, worked in real estate before, what does a typical week look like for you and kind of what's happening day to day behind the scenes that maybe people don't really think about or don't usually see?
Yeah, so first of all, in real estate, a lot of realtors love it because every single day is different and every single deal is different.
Hmm.
So, whether you try to make every day the same, but every day is a little bit different. Um, I'm constantly getting calls and text messages from clients or other agents, and leads are coming in. So, we have a thing called speed to lead where, in other words, the first realtor to get to the lead gets the lead. Yeah, so you have to be like on your game whenever those leads come in if you want them. Then you have, whenever a house comes on the market that one of your buyers wants to see, you have to get right on showing them that house. People are constantly asking for, valuations. What's my home worth? Maybe we'll sell,
Mm.
maybe we won't. And then tracking the market, so previewing inventory, seeing new listings, keeping on top of that, and then training. So a lot of realtors don't do training, but I love training. So I'm always in a different class every week, trying to just learn, hone my skills, refine, and it's honestly really helped over the years deal with some of the changes in the market and the way
Mm.
that the public perceives us or in the way that we have to interact with the public because things have changed. So it was like I'm on the front edge of that, which has been very helpful. And then I'm also a small business owner, so I get to do all of those things, all the bookkeeping and accounting and taxes and bank accounts. And then also, as now we can add social media, so you have to be like a social media guru. So there's videos and posts and Facebook Marketplace, and
Yeah, so I'm actually really curious because I have seen you post quite a bit about your trainings, and I feel like you're always learning and growing, which is awesome because I think not many people get those opportunities. Are you looking for those yourself? Are they coming across your path and you just sign up for them, or are there specific skills that you're looking to improve and then you look for training there?
So I follow like a few different like real estate trainers, I guess you could say. So I'm with ERA. ERA has like their whole training platform,
Mm,
which I'm so thankful for. And
yeah.
then previously I've worked with the Tom Ferry organization or Jeff Glover of Glover U. And so I just kind of follow their schedules. And then if they have a training that meets my needs or schedule or looks really interesting, then I will throw it on my calendar and hopefully be able to attend.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing is just I live by my calendar every day. So if I have to go get food, I have to put it on the calendar because otherwise I will just schedule
Oh no.
myself right over it. And every day's different. So some days are super chill and I can go to lunch and, take an hour and a half and then other days it's, 9 to 9. So
Mm,
yeah.
yeah. So it definitely seems like your schedule varies, but also that you have to be available evenings, weekends, and you may not be able to live by a set schedule. So how do you kind of set boundaries? What's kind of worked for you, so that you're still available for your clients, but you also have, time to do things for yourself?
You have to like I guess demand respect from your clients, I guess, is not maybe not the right phrase, but earn respect or, require respect your schedule.
Mm,
The clients who expect you to just drop everything at a moment's notice for them, we don't get along, so they can go work with someone else. um, the one like rule I have across the board is no calls and texts after like 8 p.m. So unless we're literally in the middle of negotiating a contract or trying to pin down repairs or something like that,
mm,
I really try to turn the phone off like at 8 p.m.
yeah.
So far as the weekends, in Vegas, it was a little bit trickier because one, it's hot, and then two, everyone's on a different schedule.
Yeah.
So in Vegas, you would have like your afternoons off, like in the hottest part of the day, we'll say.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So, but everyone wanted to see houses in the morning when it was nice and cool, especially Saturday, Sunday when they're off. And then here, though, so Arkansas is a little bit different. It's a very uh, like church going community. So basically, I get most Sundays off
Mm,
outside of a few leads, which has been really restful.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, so every once in a while I'll work a couple hours on a Sunday, but mostly I get Sundays off here, which is really nice.
So one fear that I hear a lot when it comes to real estate is that the income can be unpredictable, especially for someone who's starting out and doesn't really, know have many clients or know how to, I guess, find these leads. Can you explain how income really works and maybe how you've been able to manage through those periods of uncertainty?
Definitely. Yeah, that's a huge factor in a lot of people either being successful or unsuccessful in real estate is just having the funds available, that nest egg, if you will. So when I first got my license, and I started, thinking like, okay, I might do this full time, I started saving up money. So I had actually 6 months of income or expenses, not income, expenses
Yeah.
saved up so that I knew that I could live for 6 months without making a single penny. And I had cut everything. Um, but I had 6 months of income saved up, and thank goodness because I used every single penny of those 6 months to get my first couple deals closed.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, and then right. So once you start closing deals, then it's like you think it's going to go on forever, and it doesn't. You do hit dry spells, like for example, here in Arkansas, the world shuts down during the winter.
Mm,
So yeah, so December, January is super quiet, and Vegas is the opposite because all the investors are trying to buy in December. So December's great. Here is like not not the same. So just having that nest egg built up at all times, like a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, Dave Ramsey talks about it, but honestly, it is so key for real estate. That way, you don't have commission breath, as they call it. Like you're just trying to get, just buy this house, please.
Oh, I
Um,
see.
that way, people aren't freaked out by you and put off, and you can actually help them go through the process naturally rather than trying to push them into a property that isn't the right fit.
Right. Yeah. You mentioned that it took a few months to kind of close your first deal. What's the, I guess, average turnaround time that you've seen when it comes to like a deal closing? Is it like all over? It could be like 2 years and one could be 2 weeks kind of thing, or is it like on average, it takes a few months?
It's 30 to 45 days from open to close normally.
Mm,
However, the life cycle is 90 days.
gotcha.
So they say basically from the time you meet a client to the time you're actually closing that deal is about 90 days. And that's for a hot client, like an active client. So at any one point, if you have zero business and you have to go find clients, you can expect income 90 days later.
Yeah,
So you have to have that 3 month cushion because even if I find a client tomorrow, like I'm not going to get paid for 90 days.
that makes
So
sense. So that
yeah,
6 month nest egg is just like the bare minimum almost, or 3 to 6 months is bare minimum because of the life cycle.
yeah,
Wow.
yes.
From what I understand, to work as a realtor, you have to work for a broker or you have to become a broker. I don't really understand, but how do you choose the path of like the right brokerage to work for, or whether I guess you get your own broker's license, and how does the brokerage relationship work for you?
Yeah, this is so great. I'm so glad you brought this up. There's a lot of misconceptions around this. So the number one question that I get asked when people find out I'm a realtor, they're like, "Oh, do you work for yourself?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but no." So it's a little bit of a gray, like an ambiguous area.
Ah,
So every realtor outside of like maybe 5%, Redfin, are 1099. So we're all 1099. So we're all technically individual small business owners. So I have to, the brokerage doesn't give you like anything. They don't give you
mm,
health insurance. They don't give you, pay your taxes for you. You don't get social security, nothing. So we're all 1099. It's kind of like being a hairstylist.
mm,
So as a hairstylist, you rent a chair inside of a salon. And if, you have a relationship and you give that salon a portion of your earnings, but the salon helps you, book appointments or puts you on their website, stuff like that.
gotcha.
So it's a lot like that. And then at any time, if you decide, you have a better deal somewhere else or you don't like the salon anymore, whatever, you can move your chair, to a different style, to a different salon as an individual stylist.
So I guess what would you say would make a good brokerage then? Because I mean, what would make you switch to another salon?
Yeah. So um, for me, it's money and culture.
Mm,
So there has to be a good balance between the two. Um, the brokerages in Vegas are very competitive on the money. So a lot of them are what they call 100% brokerages, where you pay in like a certain amount and then you're done for the year. They might have a couple other fees on top of that, but otherwise, it's very predictable.
yep.
The culture is kind of where things are change. So some brokerages have, very much hands-off culture. Some are more hands-on. Some provide training. Some don't. Um, a lot of brokerages provide training for only new agents,
Mm,
and it's very rare that you find a brokerage that provides training, at all levels. I started out at Realty One Group, and it was great for new agent. They provided a lot of new agent training. And then I transitioned over to Keller Williams. And Keller Williams provides a lot of new agent training, but they also have training all the way up the line. So that was really helpful that I was able to train new agents, but then also receive training as a more experienced agent.
have you kind of found like mentors along the way, or like people that have really helped influence your career and maybe your strategies?
Yeah, yeah. So, and I'm huge on mentorship and getting that training and coaching. So I've had a few mentors along the way through the Tom Ferry organization, Mike Ferry organization. I've tried them all. And then also through Keller Williams, I have an amazing coach, Jacob, who's actually stayed with me since I moved to Arkansas.
Nice.
And yeah, so we have the history and the consistency. So he kind of knows what to expect. I know what to expect. And the accountability is there. You know, he knows my goals and kind of how I operate. So it's been really great to have that consistency carry over through the transition.
How did you, when you moved a few years ago, I mean, how long has it been? Has it been like 3 years or
3 years.
3 years? Yeah. How did
Crazy.
you like go about building a new client base from scratch? And
So, and that's where a brokerage choice is really key. So I chose a brokerage that had just a ton of leads coming in that I could work. So in Vegas, they didn't really do floor time, but here we do floor time. So it's kind of like desk duty or floor time where you just sit in the office and when someone walks in or calls, or if the broker pays for a lead source, if one of those leads comes in, then you get to work it. So fortunately, that brokerage had just a ton of those kinds of leads that I was able to work and convert and follow up with and close that have turned into like a really great client base here.
how did you kind of work through the major differences, maybe that you mentioned earlier, and if you've noticed any others along the way?
Well, big differences. Obviously, the religious between the two is huge. Like, so it affects like the schedule of clients.
Mhm.
Um, oh, another big difference within my field is brokers in Las Vegas. Basically, you could do an entire deal without ever interacting with your broker.
Mm.
So one broker would have 100 agents, and it wasn't that big of a deal because they didn't really have to be in the day to day. Arkansas contracts are totally different, whereas the broker has to sign every single piece of paper that is part of your transaction.
Wow.
Yeah, so the overhead is a lot more extensive here because the broker has to be constantly involved in your paperwork.
Mm.
So I think it leads to a lot more obviously more oversight, but better deals.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I guess Arkansas, like, so I mean, just the places are totally different. So, like Las Vegas, you have track houses where every single house is the same in the neighborhood.
Yep.
So when you pull comps, you just pull like the 5 most recent sales in that neighborhood, and hopefully the builder made them kind of somewhat the same size, so you don't have to, cut out a bunch of them, or you can just go to the neighborhood next door, pull some comps from there.
Yeah.
In so I'm in Mountain Home, Arkansas, north central Arkansas, and it was really developed, this area, in the 1970s and the 1990s.
Uh,
So there's nothing new. There's no builders. There's a couple, but not like Vegas.
yeah.
So the houses were kind of similar in the 70s, but 50 years later, they've had remodels, additions, renovations, and all kinds of different things have happened to them. So they don't look the same anymore.
Right.
So running comps is a lot trickier out here. And then, so that's just in town. Then we have all of our acreage properties outside of town.
Mm.
So you could have like a mobile home on an acre, or you could have a mobile home on 100 acres.
Wow.
And you have to
That sounds
know,
nice.
yeah, right? But you have to know like how to price that. And it could be a 2024 mobile home, or it could be a 1964 mobile home. And then there's, the gambit from there. So, it's a mansion, but it's only on 1 acre,
Mm.
or it's a mansion on 50 acres.
Yeah, so the variety, it's a lot more varied and also they're not as comparable, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
I had clients ask me for evaluation the other day. They have a mobile with a lake view on some property, a brand new mobile home, like gorgeous, like the best you can buy. And there's nothing that has sold. So a comparable is only a sold property because that's
Mm.
what someone will pay for it. There was a few on the market, but nothing had actually sold. So in order to do evaluation, you have to go about it a completely different way. You have to do kind of like break down each piece and then add them up rather than just doing a similar property. So
Mhm.
it can get really complicated really quickly.
I feel like I remember, was your mom also doing real estate or she's no
Yes.
longer doing it or what's happening?
Yeah. No worries. So we both started around the same time. So independently, we both decided that we wanted to be realtors. And of course, we're like, get out of my brain. Um, Ironically, we were both like office managers before that. So I was like, can I not do the same career as you for once? But it's okay. So she basically did all the hard stuff. So she figured out how to do what school to go to in Vegas and how to take the test and the timing of everything. She, picked a brokerage, got started, all that stuff. So while I was working full time, I was able to then just like click the easy button and like go to the school, take the test,
Mhm.
join the brokerage, um, and just kind of follow in her footsteps. And then we were able to kind of work together that first year or so. She was doing it full time in 2016, and then I was doing it on the weekends with her in 2016.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, and then in 2017, January 2nd, I went full time.
Wow, I love how you remember the day.
Yep. Yeah, January 2nd, 2017, full time real estate agent. So, and then I didn't close any deals until June.
Wow.
So open houses twice a week for months and months and months before actually closing any deals. I was able though to assist my mom with some clients that she had. Oh yeah, so my mom moved here to Arkansas at the end of 2018. So she had checked out her real estate business at the end of 2018 in Nevada and then started here in Arkansas like halfway through 2019, I think. Coming up here, she had a very established client base, and it was good to like ride around with her basically and get to know the market and the area and the houses and how the people are. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more things that can go wrong here with the house than in
Okay,
Vegas.
yeah.
Like we have crawl spaces here and shingle roofs, where in Vegas everything is a tile roof on a slab.
Mm,
It's pretty straightforward.
yeah.
Whereas here, it's a lot of nuance. There's septic systems and there's sewer systems and there's wells. And so it
Wow.
was a big difference. So it was really nice to have her there to kind of guide me through those initial changes.
Did you have to get a different license when you moved to Arkansas for real estate?
So the tests are state specific.
Mm,
Or the licenses are state specific. So there's a national like test, and then there's state specific tests. So for Nevada, I did my Nevada and national tests and license. And
mhm.
then when I moved to Arkansas, I had to take the Arkansas class and the Arkansas test. But
Gotcha.
since I still had my Nevada license, I was able to carry that national part over. So, and then as a realtor, you can get referrals from other realtors around the world.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really nice. So you can only pay someone for a referral if they're another realtor,
Oh, gotcha.
which is a huge fact that a lot of people don't know. They're like, well, I sent you a deal. Why haven't you sent me money? It's like, well, it's illegal. That's why. um, you can send a nice present, but that's it. Um, so as a realtor, I only needed a license in one state. So I did not keep my Nevada license. But because I know so many agents in Nevada, I'm able to refer deals back and forth and still be able to make a commission off the referral.
Amazing. Okay, great. So it's almost like the bigger your network, the better when it comes to real estate, because you
Yeah.
can do that referral to other agents. They can refer to you. And, if you have someone moving to a different area, you can say, hey, I know someone over there.
Yeah. And that's been a huge part of like going to the conferences and the training events is you can network with other agents in all over the nation. So if someone says like, oh, I have an aunt who's moving in, Timbuktu, Missouri, I'll just look up Timbuktu, Missouri in my contacts and see who I know that lives there. And I probably know somebody and I'll be like, hey, this is a great agent that can work with your aunt, you know?
I will say here in Las Vegas, I mean, it's been an interesting market, that's for sure. How do you go about, I guess staying strong when it is a hard market to work in, whether it be unpredictable like economics or, just, the real estate is not moving for whatever reason, or, how do you kind of navigate those challenges and challenging times?
Yeah, and that's one of the huge reasons why I'm always in training. So the market is always different every month, every season. The inventory is different, the challenges are different. So being always up to date on those trainings, I mean, they're telling you what to do for that specific
Mm,
market at that time.
yeah.
So I mean, there's so many different strategies depending on what the issue is, but it could be, how you're prospecting, how often you're prospecting. It could be just that your 90 days is 120 instead of
Right.
90.
Yeah.
Um, the the types of houses that are selling. I mean, we've seen a huge transition um, lately, so in the last decade, towards move-in ready homes because people like us don't want to do a bunch of work before we move in.
Yep.
So there's a lot of factors and your job is to know what those are going into the situation so that you can guide your client on the best approach. So,
That's awesome. I didn't realize that these trainings could also help you navigate these questions and what to do and best practices, because I think that's amazing. I think that's another fear that would come up is, hey, maybe the market's great today, but what if it, slows down in 6 months? What do I do? But it sounds like
mhm.
there's strategies for that too. So that's great.
Yeah, definitely. And that's where having like a one-on-one coach comes in so they can speak to like your individual situation. Like, hey, you need a 4-month emergency fund
Yeah.
because your sales cycle is a little bit longer. Or a lot of people are still working full-time jobs while trying to be real estate agents. So it's like, okay, well, maybe save a little more before you transition out or transition now while it's great, you know, just
Yeah.
depends.
So if someone is thinking about pivoting into real estate, what are the steps they would need to take, and what advice would you give them now, knowing what to give them a strong start?
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is before you decide you want to become a real estate agent is go shadow a real estate agent.
Mm,
So this job is 90% lead generation and talking on the phone to people that you don't know. Um, so if you're, one of those people who's super introverted, super shy, doesn't like to talk on the phone, I highly do not recommend this job.
yeah.
I'm a little bit introverted, but I don't have a fear of the phone, but it's been still challenging for me just realizing that that's 90% of the job.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't know that. But so that's the first thing that I would say is just make sure you shadow someone and see if you actually like the day to day, because it's not just showing pretty houses and opening the door. Because, I joke with people that I'm a professional light turner oner because you walk into every single house and you're just turning on all the lights, making sure the doors are locked, uh, then turning them all off again. And but that's not the job, that's 2 seconds of the job. Um, so starting once you decide you want to do it, then you find a school, whether it's on Zoom, in person, whatever works best for you. You can do self-pace. Make sure that it is approved by your state.
Mm.
Otherwise, you're wasting your
Oh,
money.
wow.
Yeah, most classes range in the $400 to $500 range, so it's not a huge hurdle. And depends on your state how many hours of class you have to do. It's hours, not and topics, not like credit hours, but they do like 90 hours or 136 hours.
I see.
Um, yeah, and then you graduate class, you get your authorization to take your test, and you have to schedule it. It's at a professional testing center,
Hmm.
and take your test, pass that, and then they do background checks. You have to get fingerprinted. You have to apply for your license, and then
Oh,
you
wow.
can,
Okay.
yeah, pay and get your license. So
And then do you need to maintain like credit hours going forward for like renewing it at all?
Yeah. Great question. So we do have continuing education. Las Vegas was at once every 2 years. Here in Arkansas, it's every year. So you just do your CE once a year and learn some things, hopefully, and uh, sit through the class and then move on with your life. So
Yeah. And what advice would you give for a strong start for someone just starting out?
yeah, make sure you have that 6 month emergency fund. So even if you don't use it, it's a great place of stability to come from, knowing in your head that, you're comfortable and confident that you can move forward and just take that chance.
Right.
It is high risk, high reward. And so there's really great months and really, really crappy months.
Yeah.
um, it's been, you could have a $50,000 month, or you could have a month where you've lost, out on $50,000.
Yeah.
So don't spend the money until you make it.
That's for sure. That's great advice. As a woman, I guess another fear that would come up is how do you think about your personal safety? I guess, like you said, you're talking to strangers, you're having to show strangers homes. Are there playbooks for those kind of things? How do you make yourself comfortable in those situations?
We have, there's whole classes on realtor safety. It's a really big topic. There have been
Oh,
several high
good.
profile cases where people have been killed showing houses. A lot of realtors conceal carry. So don't ever attack a realtor thinking they don't have a gun, because they probably do. In Vegas, I would keep, a weapon and car keys and house keys on me at all times. Always lock my car going into a house, and then I always lock the door behind us so that there's not extra uninvited guests following us in.
Mm, great point. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in Arkansas, it's a little bit safer. However, everyone in Arkansas has a gun,
Yeah.
so if you go onto a property where you're not welcome, you also risk getting shot.
Because, there's all these realtor shows, like you mentioned, that make it seem all fancy and you're just showing homes all day. What are your thoughts on those shows?
So I try not to watch them, to be honest, because it's just so unrealistic, and it just drives me bonkers. But like Selling Sunset, the girls would make like 2 phone calls and make like $100,000.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole lot that goes in behind the scenes, that you have to have that network. Otherwise, there's no one to call. They And then I think a lot of the business was coming through the Oppenheim Group, which is
Right.
a
That's true.
well-known brand in that market, and that they were just feeding it to those girls for the show,
Yeah.
which, bless them, they've earned it that way. But that's not. I
That's not
wish
the
I could
reality.
make 2 phone calls and make $100,000.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And that's also they're in a different price point.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
that's been a big change for me as well. So Las Vegas, the price point is a lot higher than here in Arkansas.
Okay.
However, the commissions tend to be a little bit higher in Arkansas than they are in Las Vegas. So you make more per deal, but just overall the deals are smaller.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. And when you're in Beverly Hills and every house is $30 million, then you only need 1% and you're set. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. So it's. I mean, I know people who only do one deal a year and it's 5 million.
Mm,
And that's great. Like you can survive if you do a $5 million deal every year, and
yeah.
save your money. You don't spend it all in one place. You know, but you only have to do one deal a year if it's a large deal. That's not Arkansas, but
Yeah.
and it's the same amount of work for every single deal, no matter what the price point is. So that's why a lot of people try to do those luxury properties, because it's the same amount of work as a $5,000 deal or a $30,000 deal or $1 million deal.
I see. I see. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like the same amount of paperwork regardless of the size of the
Yeah.
deal. So, but it's just a bigger check at the end of it. So,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
You
see
try
what
to
you mean.
average it out a little bit. You're like, I'll do a couple. So here in Arkansas, we do have properties for $20,000 and $5,000, like places you can live for $30,000, which it just blows my mind. But yeah, they can't sell one. I'm like, I don't understand. Um, but you want to balance it out with some, 250, 350, 450s so that your average is kind of a livable amount of commission and you're not just drowning in $5,000 deals.
Well, if someone watching wants to learn more about you or connect with you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so Instagram at Genevieve Harakidas or Jen with a G, jensellsarkansas.com. And you can get to me through there. It goes straight to my phone. So, yeah, but I
Awesome.
mean, if somebody has questions about real estate or what it takes to get involved, I would love to help you and, you know, and give you some guidance. I've had so many people reach out to me over the years, do you think I'd be good at real estate or, is it worth something, is it worth pursuing for me? Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. So it just depends on the person. Also, something else I want to say, there's so many other avenues within real estate.
Hmm.
There's so many other careers. So you could be a home inspector, you could be an appraiser, you could be in title, you could be a marketing agent for a title company or a lender. You can be a lender. There's just depends on what your skills are. Um, Lenders most of the time don't work weekends. Title doesn't work weekends.
Yeah.
Uh, I wish I knew. But like their title is just paperwork all day, all day. Lenders are crunching numbers all day. Appraisers are normally don't speak to anyone and just crunch numbers.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah. So it just depends on, what your skill set is and what your goals are. Um, but there's
Yeah.
so many other careers inside of just the real estate bubble that a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And it sounds like the first step might be shadow a realtor. If it's
Yes.
not for you, really think about your personality and what really makes you happy, whether that be interacting with people or if you want something that you don't need to interact, you might want to do the home inspector or the, appraiser route or something like that.
Yeah.
But great points. Great advice. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for being with us, Jen, and sharing
Thank
all of your
you.
wisdom with the two different markets. Such a journey. Thanks again so much.
Thank you. Bye.